Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and author, Sean Douglas. This show is heard in over 74 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell the story of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network Tuesday through Friday. Join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio Community, and never miss an episode by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. Life Transformation Radio can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, CastBox, the Himalaya app, and the Google Play Music app. Basically, wherever you listen to podcasts, Life Transformation Radio can be heard. So please subscribe to Life Transformation Radio and leave us a rating and review to let us know how well we're doing. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, basically amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my guest for today, Chariya Bissonette. Chariya, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Hey, Sean, what's up? So glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I am excited, pumped, energetic. I cannot wait to dive into this show because you are one of my most unique guests. Looking at your profile, looking at what you've accomplished, I don't think I've had somebody in the creative arts and then in the vocals and then as a speaker. Like, you have a broad range. Actually, I don't know if it's a niche down range or a broad range, but you pretty much do it all.
Well, it's funny. I think when you are in a creative job and you're in entertainment, I think you just learn to do a lot of things. You learn to do it well so you can survive and be in the entertainment industry. Yeah. So I think that's probably most of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I absolutely love your background. And so I titled this episode, Increasing Personal and Corporate Standards with Chariya Bissonette. She has been She has been a creative arts director for over 25 years, working with nonprofit organizations as well as corporate environments, using creativity to produce events, communicate, teach varied topics, problem solve, market, team build, and increase personal and corporate standards of excellence and productivity. As a coach and teacher in the arts, she has instructed and directed talent to careers in recording and touring, Broadway, television, film, and comedy. An associate of famed vocal teacher Seth Riggs, Chariya specializes in vocal therapy, restoration, and performance endurance. Her performance credits include Elton John, Rick Springfield, Yolanda Adams, and being one of Disney's International's original Pocahontas. Her commercial and voiceover accounts include the Disney Corporation, American Airlines, Kodak, Burger King, and Jaguar, where her jingle was used for several winter campaigns. Her producer-director credits include large-scale live-to-radio music festivals for Easter at the Verizon Amphitheatre. Chariya has spoken in front of a variety of audiences, including corporations, women's groups, sports teams, nonprofit and religious organizations, prisons, and gang intervention. Audiences receive tools that immediately impact personal pursuits, professional bandwidth, and effectiveness. She is high energy, entertaining, motivational, inspirational as she instructs through personal testimony, humor, and encouragement the importance of developing the very best of one's skills while living with a purpose and a destiny. You can go to her website, Chariya Bissonette, Chariay Bissonnette, right there in the show notes, ChariyaBissonette.com. You can actually Google Chariya Bissonette and she will come right up. She's doing amazing, amazing work in the world. And so after reading all that, which I think is absolutely amazing, I have to know, what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
You know, I was thinking about this. I think I have several whys, but my main why is to grow something beautiful from several events, sometimes several tragedies. Sometimes when I work with a person, I can see what's hitching them up. And I want them to see, not to run away from that, but to grow from that and to use that actually as arsenal. I come from a pretty intense background myself, so I think it's interesting when you're reading that. It's interesting because I'm like, wow, you know, I probably can speak to a lot of different people because I've had a lot of different experiences myself. You know, myself just overcoming certain things for me. So I think that's my why. Growing something beautiful.
You know what I love about this? I've noticed through 286 or 7 or so episodes that it's always the same theme. Your why is personal. The why is the result of something. The transformation comes and therefore builds your why. And it's either because I want to prevent something from happening, the struggle, the strife, the whatever, or I want to let people know that there's a better way or there's a different way.
Yeah.
Or that your why is because of something personal that happened to you that you feel so passionate about that fuels your career. That's it right there. And I love it when people explain it the way that you did because, it's so true.
Well, it is true. You know, I think that empathy is something that happens when you go through stuff. And I think it gives you grace. And I think it gives you understanding of the reasons for other people's why they're stuck, why they can't get to where they need to get to. I think that you begin to see, you know, the same face in others that you see in the mirror yourself. So you're like, oh, I could actually really understand this person and help this person get from A to B because I kind of have empathy, not just kind of, but I sort of lived through that. I sort of lived through that serious situation. And I, like you said before, when you make it through, you kind of, helping others gives you a reason, a little bit, a legitimacy for some of the unfair things maybe that people feel happen to them. It gives you a legitimacy. It gives you something positive. It gives you a stone to put in somebody else's foundation.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. So talk to us about the transformational moment. I don't believe it's all sunshine and rainbows, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. So talk to us about your transformational moment. What happened that put you on the path to what you're doing today?
Well, it's kind of hilarious because I was just doing a talk the other day, and it was this 12-minute memorized speech, probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. But the name of the talk was called Beautiful Dirt. And one of the very first lines that I say is, I guess I'm just one of those people that a lot of stuff has happened to. And I would say that probably my transformational moment is really several moments. I grew up in a highly abusive home. I was sexually, physically, and emotionally abused from the time I was 6 to about 11 years old.
Wow.
That changes you. My father committed suicide. I had a premature infant. A premature infant that was born when I was only 24 and a half weeks pregnant. He had a 2% chance of survival. I've been diagnosed with rare mold poisoning. My mom fell and hit her head and had 2 double hematomas and died suddenly. My
Jesus.
youngest son had a parasite and then was in a severe bike accident. I mean, in my talk, it's slightly humorous, but I'm just one of those people that I guess a lot of stuff's happened to. So what do you do with that? Well, from an abused background, you get to understand that other people have hitches in their life because they're verbally abused. In a corporate environment, you're able to recognize things that people try to hide, and it's holding them back. But when they see in your face that you survive that, you don't even have to have words. They understand, and they're going to take instruction from you. In my bio, you saw that I did gang intervention. I worked with hardened people that had a life that basically because they grew up in a really difficult childhood. So I was able to get through to them. And the reason why I came up with Beautiful Dirt is because, I felt over a long period of time just talking to people, it became one of my regular things that I would say, and that nobody really wants to take advice, or nobody really wants to confide in anyone or be led by anyone, really unconsciously, unless they have a little dirt on them. Like, someone who's surviving cancer, they can be encouraged all the live long day, and they should be, but they really are going to receive something deep and wonderful from somebody who's survived cancer, and I think if you survive something, you have the tact, you have diplomacy, and you have wisdom from that. So that's my transformational moment, is going through each one of these moments and finding the nugget that then allows for me to be the antidote. You know how you get bitten by a snake, they take the venom from the snake and they create an antidote? I feel like I've been bitten in lots of different areas, and now I get to give the antidote potentially to somebody else who got bitten in the same way. That's my transformational moment, on and on and on. So.
Wow. Like,
you're so funny.
I mean, I thought I've been through a lot of stuff. Good Lord. So there's a little bit of similarities in the sense that I'm a suicide survivor. I tried to take my life in 2008. Our daughter just turned 2, which is an absolute blessing. Every minute is a blessing. She's doing really well now, but she was diagnosed at 12 weeks. I forgot what they call it. 12 weeks gestational?
Yep.
Anyway, something like that. So my wife was 12 weeks pregnant, and she was diagnosed with newborn hemolytic anemia, which basically means like my wife's blood is trying to kill the baby. And so my daughter's blood, red blood cells were being killed off. They were dying off rapidly. And I learned a lot. I didn't even know this. You lose blood, right? You lose blood, but your body is continuously making blood cells. I did not know this either, that your blood cells die around 6 to 9 months and your body just makes new ones. I did not know that. What was oh, okay. So to combat that, my wife had to have 5 intrauterine blood transfusions, and the baby was born prematurely because she wasn't going to survive. I totally get the preemie. Ours. So I knew exactly what you meant. 2% and all that, because they said we had to get past 30 weeks. Like really, they could survive at 28. But really 30 is like we gotta do our best to get to 30, and we made it to 30. And then she was born with complications and some other stuff, but she's doing well now. So I totally resonate with your stuff.
Well, and I mean, it's interesting because then that creates dialogue, and, Brandon, my oldest, I was only, 24 and a half weeks, and that is unheard of. And, I say in my speech something funny. It was funny because he was born at St. Joseph's. I live in Orange County, California, and Children's Hospital of Orange County is right there. And the day that I had him, I went down, they take you to sign all the papers. And I was like, wait a second, that's not my phone number. And they were like, no, that's the estimated amount of money that you owe. I was like, oh.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, our insurance company got bought out by another insurance company on the very same day. So we actually had no insurance when he was born, and so our credit was pretty much ruined. I mean, it's like I said in my speech. I guess I'm just one of those people that a lot of things happen to. So,
but what's great about that is you've used it to transform others and elevate others.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
You could wallow.
That's true.
You could.
But here's, what? I don't know what it was in me that chose this because I don't think it was conscious. I think it was probably out of survival because serving other people was my survival. It was my sanctuary. It was much easier to concentrate on other people than it was for me to get caught up in my own chaos. And I think that was something that I just did. Some people are fight or flight. I think I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter by nature. So, you knock me down, I come back twice as hard. I've just built that way. I don't know why. I just think that that's the way people have different personalities. But it seemed, it's like heal others, heal thyself kind of a thing. It seemed like when I was working with other people, I was actually saying truths out loud that helped me. And I think that is probably as simply put as possible. And then you put your skill level onto that. So you have various skills of team building, of recognizing people's personalities, of emotional intelligence. You get really emotionally intelligent when you go through stuff. I think you can. Whether people decide to choose that is something else. But if they don't know what to choose, then they never have an option to choose that. And I would think that probably my impact on others would be allowing them the opportunity to have free will and choose some of the things that maybe potentially they didn't even know they could. So,
I love that. Very cool. I love that.
I mean, because
most people don't.
Most
people don't think that they're good enough. Let that situation define them, and we can go. I mean, you and I can sit here and go cliche as hell for another 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like people don't see their own value, and they don't like they just sit there and they wallow. Like, oh, pity me, and again, I didn't even realize that's what was going to happen, but I love the show here because we take these moments and I'm like, what did you do with that moment? And I've gotten reviews where people are like, man, I'm going through this right now. And you had this guest on there and that's what she did or he did with his moment. I'm going to follow their footsteps. I'm going to connect with them. I'm going to learn from them. I can do that.
One of the questions that I ask, or one of the things that I tell almost every client that I have is, you become one of two things. You either become the person you never had, or you become the person you defended yourself against the most. And I think those are your two questions, your two options for a path. I became the person I never had. I never had a mentor. I never really had, and I don't want this to sound like a blues song, da 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 da. I never had it, no. I mean, but I really didn't. I was sort of in a desert when it came to encouragement, when it came to somebody really believing in me, when it came to, I have them around, but when you grow up in something, you that kind of dies out, or you learn not to trust it, And so the people that wallow, so to speak, I'm also super careful in how I define people. And I do this not against anybody else, because anybody can define anything the way that they want because they have the free will and the choice to do that. But I think that there's always a very, very good reason why people's mindsets are the way that they are. They either learned or they were frightened or terrorized into having to believe something that was untrue. If a person's abused and somebody tells them long enough, hey, you're a piece of whatever, and then you're not worthy, or you're this or you're that, or they can't even be or have the freedom to believe that they're any better, they just learn like a beaten dog. They just learn. So you have to reteach them, because I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever really choose to feel horrible. I think that there becomes a hopeless comfort. And it's almost like
Yep.
Stockholm syndrome. You know, you
Yeah.
become Stockholm syndrome. You learn to fall in love with your captor, and your captor is probably like yourself with the lies. That's why I say you can enter into an arena of empathy and hopefully show somebody some breadcrumbs to get out of the jungle. But once again, they have choice. They have a choice to do that. And the majority of what I do is just, I'm a bridge builder. I build bridges of tolerance. I create environments of unity. I've just found that is super helpful. Not for everybody, because there are people who need to remain where they are because they have not chosen. And you can't move them off their mindset no matter what, because they've become stubborn. It's satisfying something for them in sort of a crooked way of thinking. And so you just continue to work to give them options. But then there are the people that are really hungry for a way out. And I find that when you're hungry for it and when you're treated with respect, even if the way you're dealing with your situation is totally victim, you know, like, well, I can't do that because of this. Well, no, I think you can. You know, let me show you the options. Choose one. You know, well, I really can't do that. Okay, then the reason why you can't do it is not because you don't know the options. It's something deeper. It's something else going on. It's something else to confront. And when I, you know, if I were to in any way, and I'm humble about it, and I mean, humble meaning I don't take credit in nothing because it's just telling the story. It's just telling your story and allowing people to tell them their own story. I feel if you give them the option to do that, tell your story. Let's find what really is. And then you just become a mirror to people. They either like what they see or they don't. And it's a gentle way of urging people to make change.
Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely love it. Like, it's so, like, I get it. I understand it. I resonate with it. I absolutely love it. I'm energized hearing that because I tried to do along the same lines as, like, I want to follow that model. You know, you know, as a speaker coach, I'm like, you know, everybody's told this speaker, like, tell your story, tell a story. Yeah, but you kind of have to be healed from your story because some people are not. And I've been at an event where people have broken down on stage, you know, and I'm like, what the heck? I was like, I was just told to tell my story. I'm like, you're not even healed from it. Like, it's still so raw for you. So I tell people, use your story as a baseline and become the mentor and the guide for the audience. The audience is the hero of their own story. Use your story, but don't just tell your story on stage and then, like, that's your whole talk. Like, you have to give them guidance. You have to mentor them. So story is important. Some people aren't even healed from it. So using that could be bad if you've only talked about your story.
Right. And I think you've brought up a good point because, you know, there's two ways to go in life. There's constructive or destructive. You're either going to be constructive in your own life or to others, or you're going to be destructive to your own self or to others. Some people are constructive to themselves but destructive to others. Some people are destructive to themselves and constructive to others. You have to be constructive to yourself and constructive to other people, or else you're tearing things down when you're trying to build something up, you know? And I think that analogy that you said about the person telling their story, you know, what they did is they were destructive to themselves and to the audience because they haven't healed yet, so they had no good food to serve that day. You know, there's no good food. Right. So you've ended up poisoning yourself. Now you're starving because you told your story without healing. And then now you poisoned everybody else that had to experience that and had to try to weave through. And, you know, now they're feeling bad for you. And that wasn't the constructive delivery that I think anybody would benefit from. You see what I mean? So if it's always a target, be as constructive as possible. Be as constructive with yourself to build things that are good in yourself, make good choices, have good disciplines, and then, you know, example that to everybody else that's around you, whether you're their mentor or not. If you're just a regular team member and you got your job to do, do your job with being constructive to the project, to yourself, to your workmates, to the company, to, the janitor, to the, receptionist, to the guy who brings food in. I mean, everybody that you are in touch with. I create in business, I create a dossier for every single person that I come in contact with when I come into a new business. Every single person. I create this picture of who that person is. I engage in conversation with them to get to know them. I want them to know that I'm paying attention to them and that they're important wherever they're coming from. It's amazing what just practicing being a quality human being on the planet will do for a situation that normally there's strife and competition and you push my buttons, you trigger me. I mean, good. Let's just write down all the triggers, people. Let's put a list on there, and under Natalie's name, under Joe's name, we know what all the triggers are. Okay, are there any more? Good. Everybody study it. Everybody, avoid those triggers as much as possible. And if there's something where you could talk to me one-on-one, we don't have to spend, 30 minutes of our staff meeting discussing triggers. So let's just write it down. Everybody knows now. And it's, and it's amazing how much work you can get done if you just go, I'll go one-on-one with you. We can talk triggers all live long day. But let's get to the task at hand so that it's constructive and we're building something.
Sure.
That's
for sure.
Anyway, my 2 cents.
I love
2 cents, Sean.
Love it. Love it. It's worth it. Let's talk about how you elevate the world around you. You specialize in vocal therapy, restoration, and performance endurance, which sounds amazing. Performance endurance, that sounds amazing. And it says that your performance credits include Elton John, Rick Springfield, Yolanda Adams, and being one of Disney International's original Pocahontas. Talk about that. What does that mean, your performance credits? Like, what does that mean?
So I have worked as equally in corporate America, building teams, working with people skills and people performance corporately. And I've worked equally as long in the entertainment industry as an entertainer. So as a vocalist, like you'll see in my credits, I did background vocals for the Caesar's Palace show for Sir Elton John. I did background vocals for Rick Springfield. That's how I started. I started as a vocalist.
Wow.
Then I went to doing voiceovers. So you see on my credit, there's American Airlines. So I was the American Airlines business report voice forever.
And, my God.
Yeah.
When you talk like that, I instantly go to the commercial. Instantly.
Right. So you saw it. But I got to do a lot of voiceover work. You want to hear another one? So this one, I used to do some demos. So I did a very old lady. So here it is. So, oh, Sean, you're a very, very good young man, I can tell. Very, very wonderful.
Oh, my gosh. That's amazing.
I used to have my kids choose how you want the bedtime story read. You want it read like the little old lady? They never wanted it because they said it was creepy, but they wanted the little girl. So here's the little girl.
I should take you through a drive-through.
No, oh my gosh. Okay, so when you're voiceover,
triggered.
other voiceover, yeah, right, triggered. Any other voiceover artists out there, you know this to be true. Okay, so you practice your voices. So you have to do that so that at whatever given point. So they used to make me, I'd order pizza or Starbucks, and my little old lady was always really super, absent-minded. So say this real quick. So just do this. This will be fun. So just go, welcome to Starbucks. How can I help you?
Welcome to Starbucks. How can I help you?
Oh, darling, you're so sweet to ask me what I want. I think I'd like a hamburger and some French fries, please.
And of course they would go, wait a second, we don't have a hamburger.
Oh, darling, I'm so sorry. Let me try again. Okay, I'm sorry. Where am I again?
And so just my kids, my husband, they would crack up. Yeah, very funny.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
That's
there you go.
awesome.
So anyway, getting back to your question, I obviously lived in two tandem worlds. So I think the way that I impact my environment around me, number one, I do just like what we've been doing. I like to laugh. I like to bring
Yeah.
humor. I like to elevate it with joy and with positivity. I don't know if I set out to do that and say, today I'm going to be positive. I think for me, I just want to always do my best to live in that area. I love to hear you laugh. When my mom was alive, oh my goodness gracious, I could make her laugh like no tomorrow. And it always was great because it was a stress relief. I love making my kids laugh. I love just random strangers, like, going up to somebody. Today I was in a coffee clutch and we're talking about disgusting things on the sidewalk. And I'm like, can people not like spit loogies or openly snot onto the sidewalk? Because it's disgusting. People who are overly observant like I am, of course, I'm looking at the science going, boy, somebody is really sick. That looks like somebody who's got a bronchial infection. It's only there on the sidewalk. Can we just not do that, people? Take a tissue, do it toward a thing. It's just disgusting. You go to the gym. I'm too observant. So I think I like to impact people by just interrupting their lives of doldrum or maybe their thoughts. Sometimes people get caught in this thought circle. And I just like to do that with laughing and with valuing people. Saying hello to somebody. Maybe, my Spanish is really not great, but I'm good enough to converse in it. I talk to as many Spanish people as possible. I make them laugh all the time. I'm sure I'm calling their mother a cow without meaning to. But, I just love to interrupt people's lives just happily. And then I like to impact the world around me by giving people things to think about, like quirky ways. I say things in a quirky way. I don't know. I don't mean to do that, but I say things in a way that people go, oh, like one of my things is success is a satisfied reflection in the mirror at the end of the day. I don't care what else happens. If I'm satisfied, if I was a quality human being. I tell everybody, go back to basics. Because if you're chasing something on the outside, you may never feel it on the inside. In entertainment, when you're an actor and you have a scene that you have to perform or a monologue, it always is terrible if you imagine what you look like and then you try to perform it that way. The only way that something is ever really quality and genuine is if you start on the inside. Inside out always instead of outside in. So I tell all of my folks, you need to really, really go back to basics. Did you feel like you were a quality human being? Did you establish standards for yourself? Are you setting goals and are you meeting them that have nothing to do with anybody else or anything else? You never hear somebody like LeBron James or Mike Trout or any of these high-level, sports guys talking about somebody else's game. They just go out there and they play their game. They're not talking about, baseball is a gentleman's sport and everybody's usually really great. Like right now, I love baseball. It's one of my favorite sports and I'm a sports fanatic. So, you hear them talking in the playoffs, Clayton Kershaw is great, Max Scherzer or, we got Verlandered, with all these pitchers and everything and how they give them respect, but they're never like going, wow, I really wish that I could throw a curveball like Strasburg. They're never doing that.
I know.
We do that all the time in the world. We're like, oh, yeah, look at, their bottom line. Look at all the money they're making or look at their social media. It's so amazing. And it's like, no, you need to become an elite person and be elite in your mindset. Don't think you got to be brave when you go there. Be a LeBron James mentally, where you're not really thinking about anybody else. You're looking at what your, God-given gifts are and what your purpose is on the planet, and you're operating in that way without the need to have to look at what anybody else's business is all about. I feel like that mindset is successful. And if I can look at the end of the day and go, hey, I impacted people like today, I'm going to check this off the box. I'm like, wow, that was really super fun with Sean. We had a great time. We laughed. I feel like I said things that potentially would be helpful, that would potentially people would think about. We laughed a lot, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I'm going to check that off in the box. So tonight, when I look at myself in the mirror and go, how'd you do, girl? Did you do okay? I just say to myself, wow, you know what? I did okay today. I'm satisfied. I know that I could do more, and when I learn more, I'll do more. When I learn better, I'll do better, the old adage. But today, I did the best that I knew how, and that makes me feel good, and that makes me feel like I'm running my own course, playing my own game, watching my own stats, delivering my own ERA, getting my own, Golden Glove.
Oh, yeah.
I have to do that. And that's how I impact others, is by exempling that, hopefully, and encouraging other people to do the same thing.
Love it. I love it.
Are you a sports fan?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Huge baseball fan, huge hockey fan.
Okay, who's your team baseball-wise?
Grew up in Detroit. So Detroit Tigers. Yeah. It sucks because we haven't been to a World Series since like 2006. So
sad.
Yeah.
So my
Detroit sports
youngest
suck,
son,
though.
They do. Lions. I'm crying for you all the time for Lions. My husband's from Detroit, so we always cry on Thanksgiving morning when the Lions play. And the funniest thing is, the only time I've seen my husband tear up, probably twice. The first time he teared up is when we knew that we were having a son, our youngest son, Josh. And the second time, Josh was like not even a year old. And I came home from work and I heard all this yelling that Josh was crying, and it sounded horrible. My husband sounded like he was crying. I ran upstairs like, what happened? What happened? He goes, the Red Wings just won the Stanley Cup. Here we go. But
that's our
so
savior team.
Us, your savior team. What's so hilarious is my youngest son, Josh. This isn't the older premium. I have two sons, but our youngest son, Josh, he went to Baylor University, played baseball there, and he was just drafted this last year by the Pirates to play minor league ball. So he's on his way to, he's doing a great job going after his dream, going after his thing. But that makes me even more of a baseball fan, only because I have watched every single one of his games starting at T-ball and have gone through all of this. I promise you, one of my dreams is to actually call a game. I just feel like doing a little podcast, little thing, for
like different voices.
League or, oh gosh, I don't know if I do that. I wouldn't go that far.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Oh, this is so much fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if the NFL shortened their games to maybe a quarter and a half, the Lions would be undefeated.
Right?
They blow it in the third quarter every game.
It's like mentally sustaining. It's like I don't know what we need to. I don't know if we need to go and walk the grounds and say some major prayers over their equipment and everything. But it's so frustrating. I feel so bad for my husband because it's like, oh, we're doing great. Turn it off because we don't want to see them fail.
I want this to be my last memory of the game today.
Exactly. I want to be happy.
When you look at what was the game? The Chiefs game was absolutely brilliant game. It was they had nothing to be upset about. What an amazing game. But
that was a great game.
The last game that they played, was it the Chiefs game? Was it the last game?
I don't think so. I think that's one because Mahomes is the quarterback
for Chiefs. Yeah.
For Chiefs, which is great.
what I know is we were spanking the Chiefs. I mean, we were getting it.
Totally.
And then third quarter they started coming back. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Right.
Here we go. And then fourth quarter comes, we're like, okay, this is our the last 5 minutes of the quarter. Okay, we're the comeback team. This is it. It was like it was like the Lions and Romo were always the comeback kids.
Right.
And it's here we go, and then you've got to be kidding me, and just collapse and just
you know what?
fold
and
under pressure.
I look at that. Exactly. And I look at that and I go, it's got to be a mental endurance game and sustaining that mental endurance of staying connected in your team. Sometimes, so I'll give you an example. And I work on teams with this. So this is good. We're talking
Okay.
about this. So when I teach a vocalist, let's say that there's a vocalist that's on Broadway or whatever, and they have to hit a high note. Usually it's not getting the high note. That's the problem. It's working on their intonation or making them sing on pitch on the way down. It's more mentally challenging once you have hit your quote unquote goal. So in life and in, like, let's take the Lions, there's the potential that what happens is when there's a little bit of success going on, their mindset changes, as opposed to maintaining this in-between mindset of, I'm going to concentrate on my play, because they're dumb. They're dumb plays. They're mental mistakes that end up happening.
Yeah.
Turnovers, you're not running your route properly, when they were just doing it. So it's sustaining that concentration and that mindset and putting it in a spot, in a category in your mind where you're not looking at the score and you're not allowing the score, whether you're below or above it, to affect your mental concentration emotionally. Because when you're emotional, it totally drowns out all of your logic. And some of these guys have to get to intuition, where they're intuitively showing up where they need to show up. And there's some obstacles in there. This is my theory anyway. There's some obstacles in there that stop them from, as a team, maintaining a full mental concentration. That's what I think happens.
Sounds great to me. Sounds like exactly what the Lions are going through. Because they break down. It's like halftime. Here we go. Like we're gonna suck. Right. I wonder if all of the because we go through coaches, like ridiculously. I'm wondering if somebody's in there, or the culture is, all right, guys, we are too good right now. We need to throttle it back. We need to start sucking a little bit just to make this game a little more interesting. So I want you to stop catching passes. I want you to start fumbling some things and make sure that every lineman stops blocking for the quarterback, just for the third quarter, and then we'll pretend to come back and make it exciting. Like, hey guys, ticket sales are down. Ticket sales are down.
Oh my God.
Here's what we need to do. We need to make it more exciting. So we're going to drop a bunch of passes for touchdowns. And then we're going to try to come back in the last 3 minutes of the game just to see if we can do it.
So funny.
It's almost that's the halftime speech.
It so is. It's so funny because my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she used to always walk by and always go, "This game is fixed." Like somebody is paying these guys off to fail. Right. This is fixed. Every single time we would laugh. We just go, "Oh, there she goes again." Because and after a while we're like, "Okay, somebody's bookie is really living it up right now. There's some bonuses for losing today." No. They have talent. They have stuff going,
Yeah, it's mentally exhausting.
It is. That's what's so sad is you see the potential, and you're just like, I know you can do it.
Right.
Oh.
Perfect.
And we can talk about sports, too. I love it, Sean.
Right.
We're having fun.
So amazing. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on the show. This has been absolutely incredible. You have lived an amazing, amazing life, and I cannot wait to see what your next decade looks like because we're 3 months away from closing out a decade. It's amazing.
Can't believe it.
Right?
Crazy.
A new decade is upon us. So
That's
absolutely, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your vulnerability and your authenticity. And I look forward to learning more about you as we go about our journey.
Thanks, Sean. I so appreciate you having me. I do a lot of work, and if anybody wants to contact me, they can contact me also through Luminary Leaders. They're the ones that actually connected me with you. If that is anything, I like to connect with people. But you know what? I would love to talk to you more. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You and your positivity and having this great show and giving lots of different viewpoints on life so that to really help people become more successful and happy. I mean, we just need more of that. I'd rather have good news like that on the TV than what we got going.
Right.
So you're doing great.
Oh, for real. Awesome. Absolutely.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around her. If anything has resonated with you today, contact her through Luminary Leaders or at her website, at Chariya Bissonette, ChariyaBissonette.com. Connect with her. Let her know that you heard her here on Life Transformation Radio. And with that, I close the show by saying live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.